Hey everyone who's just joining me, bear with me for just a moment while I start up the live stream, get it shared where I need to share it, and then we'll get started with our coverage this evening. All right, let's do a mic test. 1 2 3 1 2 3. All right, thank you to Bill, who confirms that my audio is good. So let's get started this evening. I just finished with my weathercast in the 6 o'clock news, and we're going to jump right into streaming coverage here. I'll have to pause this in about 6 minutes. When the newscast ends, I'll be able to launch the stream on WFMJ.com and our Storm Tracker 21 app, and at 6:30 I'll have to do a few things to get that stream started. But for the next 6 minutes, we'll do this on Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks to everyone for joining me. It's a busy evening. We have some pretty nasty storms out there, with a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings now out for a good chunk of our viewing area. The only county that is currently not under a warning, Columbiana County. That'll probably change, but all of Mahoning, most of Trumbull, and just about all of Mercer are under severe thunderstorm warnings. Wanted to start out with the most kind of severe storm that we have out there, the scariest storm. This is the storm that has had a history of producing some 70-plus mile-per-hour winds. When this moved through parts of Portage County earlier on, around Streetsboro, and heading over back into the Hudson area, back in Summit County. And this went across Windham and Newton Falls, and thankfully the wind has weakened a little, but still we want to take this seriously. This wind right here, where you see some of these kind of almost purple colors, if you look at our scale at the top of the screen up here, this is pushing 60 mile-per-hour plus winds being estimated by the radar here, coming into Lordstown and close to the Levittsburg area, heads up in the Warren area. Niles, your turn will come here pretty soon, so if you're in the way of this, you only have a couple of minutes. This is moving quickly, east-southeast at about 50 miles per hour. The warning is in effect until 7:15. It includes the southern tier of Trumbull and a good chunk of Mahoning. A separate warning exists off to the north. This storm up here looks less severe, in and around the Cortland area, Mecca, Bristol, heading over towards Fowler as well, and Hartford and Yankee Lake, places like that. But in the southern tier of Trumbull, down into Mahoning, again, we got to take this one pretty seriously, and I've mentioned a couple of times now, including on social media, it's a good idea to treat this one as if it were a tornado warning. It is not a tornado warning, and I don't think we're going to get a tornado out of this, but if you followed me on social media and followed my streaming coverage for a while, you know what I like to say: wind is wind, and a 65 mile per hour wind, whether it's from a tornado or not, your siding doesn't care, your roof doesn't care, your trampoline doesn't care where the wind came from. It's going to behave the same way. And so we need to take this seriously, and it's a good idea to find your safe place if you are in the way of this, if you are under this severe thunderstorm warning in southern Trumbull County, including Lordstown, McDonald, heading down towards Austintown, North Jackson, into the Youngstown area, heading north of there towards Liberty and Girard, even as far north as Vienna. Not a bad idea to take your device with you and find your safe place. Treat this as if it were a low-end tornado. It can kind of do some of the same stuff. This is pretty strong wind that's coming in with this kind of cluster here, right here, between Newton Falls and Lordstown. Now earlier, I'm going to back up the radar. Earlier, the radar was sampling, back here, the radar was sampling winds back in Portage County a little while ago, closer to the top of the hour. This was sampling 70-plus mile-per-hour winds, Shalersville back towards Streetsboro, right along Interstate 80. Thankfully, the radar is not sampling that kind of wind right now, but I think we're still seeing some pretty strong winds, the kind of winds that can cause some damage along the leading edge of this, in this warned area. So again, we're talking about Lordstown area, North Jackson, heading down towards Austintown, up into the Girard area, Niles, all those places in that zone. If you're under this severe thunderstorm warning, we want you to take this one pretty seriously. This isn't just your, kind of routine severe thunderstorm warning necessarily. This storm has had a history of producing damage, and the kind of damage that sometimes we even see in low-end tornadoes. All right, I'm going to take off the wind data here, show you kind of the traditional radar, and show you all of the warnings. Mentioned our friends in Mercer County under a severe thunderstorm warning until the top of the hour at 7 o'clock, just about the entire county, with the exception of the far southern part of Mercer County. So heavy storms right now, Fredonia, heading up towards Greenville, Sandy Creek, New Lebanon. This is coming your way as well, and over towards Sandy Lake. In the northern part of Trumbull, the worst of the wind is probably to your south, but still maybe some small hail and certainly a lot of lightning and some heavy rain. Cortland, Mecca, Bristol, heading over towards Hartford as well. Just checking in on the products the National Weather Service is issuing here. They're going to continue that Mahoning and southern Trumbull warning until 7:15 this evening. So we've got a good 45 minutes to, again, take this one pretty seriously. That's this warning that I just was mentioning, covering a good chunk of Mahoning in the southern part of Trumbull County. In Mahoning County, we're dry for right now in Boardman and Youngstown and Struthers, and even over towards Canfield. The sky is darkening quickly. The heaviest of the weather is just off to your north and west, but you are downstream of this. It is heading your way. What I'm going to do is take off some of the warning information here and do a radar loop for you to show you the general direction of things. This is all moving quickly at about 45, 50 miles per hour to the east-southeast. And so, yeah, heads up. Youngstown heading over towards Austintown and up towards Girard, Liberty, up towards the airbase in Vienna. All of this is coming your way. All right, we've reached the bottom of the hour here at 6:30, so I'm going to step away from the live stream for just a moment while I get my ducks in a row for the streaming coverage on our app and on WFMJ.com as well. So excuse me for just a moment. I'm going to put the radar back up, and I'm going to step away and get our live streaming coverage up and running on our other venues, and I'll be right back in a couple of minutes.
What is your selection as far as video?
Max 1. I think you always said I'm all set.
Okay. I'll put your mic in.
Thank you. Mark, it looks like we have cam 6 in there. We need max 1 as the source. There we go. Thank you. All right, everyone. I am back, and let me get things back up and running here. There's a lot of buttons that need to be pushed and things that need to be done to get all these live streaming venues covered. So we are live now on the Storm Tracker 21 app on WFMJ.com/weather, and of course I've been doing my streaming coverage for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes now on social media. Make sure you're following me on Facebook if you're not already. Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm on Facebook and on my Twitter and YouTube as well. All right, so resetting for those just joining us, we're at 6:33 p.m. and severe thunderstorm warnings are out for a good chunk of Mahoning, Trumbull, and Mercer counties. Not just yet in Columbiana, but that may change here in the next hour or so. The most concerning storm has been the one that is across the southern tier of Trumbull County, moving through the Lordstown area right now. this storm has had a history of producing some very, very powerful winds, and we're still seeing the radar sampling some very strong winds around Lordstown, kind of between Lordstown and Vienna. 60 plus mile per hour winds in this area. So right in through here, between Lordstown and Vienna, along 45, Highland Avenue. And this is coming east into Bolindale and kind of the south side of Warren, heads up in Howland, heads up in Mineral Ridge and Girard. Again, if you're just joining us, I mentioned about 10 minutes ago, and even on 21 News at 6, we want you to take this very seriously, almost as if it were a tornado warning. It's not a tornado warning, but wind is wind, and a 65 mile per hour gust, if it lasts 5 minutes, can do the same kind of thing as a low-end tornado. So secure those loose outdoor items while you still have time. If you're watching from Girard, from Vienna, Austintown, Youngstown, places like that, if you have a trampoline, if you have toys, empty trash cans sitting outside, you need to secure these things because some serious wind is going to try to track your way. And it's even a good idea to seek shelter, to find your safe place, to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So take your device with you, watch our streaming coverage online in your safe place, lowest level of your home, closet, interior room, away from the windows. If you've got a basement, that's great as well. Again, we want you to take this one pretty seriously. This isn't just a routine severe thunderstorm warning. This is the kind of severe thunderstorm that can produce the kind of damage that we sometimes see in EF0 tornadoes. This warning is up until 7:15 for the southern part of Trumbull, and again, a good chunk of Mahoning County. And I'm going to put a loop on this, show you the direction of that kind of strongest core of wind. Follow where kind of almost the purplish colors, where the red kind of bleeds into purple. So this is moving through Niles right now, and heading towards Churchill, heading towards close to the Mahoning County line, North Jackson, heading over towards Liberty, and Girard as well. Let me bring up our Niles camera here, and yeah, you can see what's going on in Niles. Wow, it is pouring rain, vivid lightning. This is across from Eastwood Mall. We can hardly see the mall across the street, across 422 here in Niles, so we are just getting pummeled in the Niles area right now. We can see the storm off to the north when we look at our Youngstown camera. We have this kind of pointed at the cityscape, but looking at the sky, very, very dark skies. In fact, I'm going to slip off camera for a second and adjust this camera. Going to point this camera a little bit up so we can see more of the sky. Look how dark those skies are north of the YSU campus, heading up towards the Trumbull County line, along Liberty Avenue, along other area roadways that kind of run north to south from Youngstown up into Trumbull County. So that is an ominous sky. And again, this is Niles. We're just getting a doozy of a thunderstorm right now, with heavy rain and vivid, vivid lightning. All right, so back to our radar. If you're watching us from Columbiana County, no severe thunderstorm warnings are out right now, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in the county just to our west and eastern Stark County, Louisville, the east side of Canton, heading over towards New Franklin as well. Those areas under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. The worst of that storm is probably going to impact Hanoverton at some point, Salem area, New Garden, heading down towards Summitville. So I would not be surprised if pretty soon we get put under a severe thunderstorm warning, at least in the western part of Columbiana County. Over in Mercer County, just about the entire county is under a severe thunderstorm warning, the exception being the far southern areas closer to the Lawrence border. But we've got a pretty good thunderstorm moving through Fredonia, New Lebanon right now. This is not as severe as the stuff that's moving through southern Trumbull, but some small hail and some gusty winds, no doubt, with the storm moving through Mercer County right now. Northern Trumbull, north of that zone where the wind is strongest, getting close to Girard and Niles. North of that, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning out until 7:15 for Bristol and Cortland, heading back towards Southington, but I think you're just about in the clear in the western part of this, closer to the Geauga and Portage County lines. I would say that the severe risk is almost at zero once you're far enough to the west, but we still need to account for this for a little while longer near the Youngstown Warren Airport, heading up towards the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, heading through the Mosquito Lake area, Cortland area, and heading up towards Kinsman as well. Someone mentioned on Twitter earlier that earlier in Kent, their son is in Kent, and said it was really bad. So some reports from upstream of how severe this was earlier on. If you can safely send us any weather-related pictures, whether they be hailstones or dark clouds, shelf clouds, anything real interesting, weatherpics, P-I-C-S, at WFMJ.com is the email address. You could submit them directly on the Storm Tracker 21 app as well. And you can also, of course, tag me on social media when I'm doing live streaming coverage, especially by myself. It's hard to keep track of some of the stuff that people are sending me on social media, especially on Facebook, and it can get a little bit overwhelming, but I promise you I'm going to look at all of it before the evening is through and sort through it and reshare some of the most interesting stuff. All right, so looking at the big picture before we zoom back in, the entire area is under a severe thunderstorm watch, all the counties in yellow, until 10 p.m. A severe thunderstorm watch means conditions are ripe, conditions are favorable for severe weather. Whenever there's a severe thunderstorm warning, that means that severe weather is either happening right now or it's just about to happen. A watch is more of a heads up. That watch was issued a few hours ago. It runs until 10 p.m. The Weather Service has already started clearing some counties from that watch west of Cleveland, and as this line continues making eastward progress, we'll see more counties stripped away from the watch, certainly before the evening is through and probably before the original expiration of 10 p.m. But in the near term, again, serious wind threat right now across southern Trumbull County. Niles down to Mineral Ridge, heading towards Girard here momentarily. See where we have some of these kind of purplish colors? This is the radar sampling winds a couple of thousand feet above our heads of about 50 miles per hour. That's where the radar beam is at this location. Now, we're sampling the storm above our heads somewhat, but when you get a big downdraft and you get a big thunderstorm, that wind energy from a couple of thousand feet up can be transferred down to the surface. So this could very well be pretty representative of what we are seeing in some places down here where we live on the ground. The way weather radar works, because of the curvature of the Earth, that radar beam gains elevation as it leaves the radar site. Our area is served by 2 National Weather Service offices and 2 Doppler radar sites, one in Cleveland, one in Pittsburgh, and we're kind of in between. The radar beam gets to a few thousand feet above our heads by the time that beam from either Pittsburgh or Cleveland hits most of our viewing area. So we sample storms in our area that we tend to sample them a couple of thousand feet up, but when you have a nasty storm like this, you can see that wind energy easily being transferred down to the surface. So again, we got to take this one seriously. If you're just joining us, I've been mentioning the word tornado, not because a tornado is happening or is going to happen, but when you have winds like this that we are seeing in southern Trumbull County right now around Mineral Ridge, when you have winds like this around McDonald and Mineral Ridge, you can get the kind of damage that you can get sometimes in a low-end kind of EF0 tornado. This is not EF3 kind of stuff, but EF0 tornado damage can still be considerable. It can still be a real pain and can even be dangerous in some circumstances. The radar currently sampling 40 mile per hour winds right now. Niles down to Mineral Ridge. We're hoping that this is starting to lose its punch a little bit as it comes to the south and east. Our camera here in Niles, the visibility is starting to come up near Eastwood Mall, and the camera is up on a billboard. It's not exactly rocking and rolling real fast. So maybe where Eastwood Mall is in that part of Niles, maybe the worst of the storm is passing now to the south and to the east. Let's look at Youngstown. You can see the visibility lowering on the northern horizon. We're looking north over the cityscape right now. This is from high up on our transmitter tower on the south side of Youngstown, and I would expect we're not going to be able to see the buildings of downtown Youngstown here in a few minutes as the storm continues pushing towards the camera, towards the south and to the east. National Weather Service in Cleveland mentioning that the warnings continue. There's a storm that managed to develop in northwest Ohio, approaching I-75. That's out in northwest Ohio that they'll monitor. I want to also mention, because we haven't gotten a chance to, with all the heavy rain that's occurred in Trumbull County in particular, in addition to all the severe thunderstorm warnings, the National Weather Service did hoist a flood advisory a little while ago up here in parts of Trumbull County. It includes the Warren area, Champion, Cortland, Mecca, Kinsman, Hartford. Flood advisory because we've seen some pretty decent rainfall totals up here. And real quickly, I'll just, this isn't the most important thing. The wind is more important for us, but I'm going to real quickly talk about this. In the area where we have the flood advisory, rainfall totals, this will take a second to fill in. I suspect we've probably seen over an inch worth of rain in some places. Now, sometimes this data can be contaminated by the presence of hail. We did have some hail earlier on, but the radar is estimating at least a couple of inches of rain in some spots. Even if there was some hail, many places, especially north of, say, Warren, probably did have at least an inch worth of rain so far over the last several hours. That's why the flood advisory is out up there. All right, so the sky darkening, Youngstown down to Canfield and into Boardman as well. It's starting to rain pretty hard in Austintown and Girard. Let's check the latest on the wind data. This is our number one concern. The wind that's coming towards Youngstown right now. The worst of the wind now well south and east of Niles, from Girard to Churchill, down towards the Youngstown Country Club, close to the YSU campus in the next few minutes on the north side of downtown, and heading towards Mahoning Avenue. This will be coming again towards our station here in downtown Youngstown here momentarily. I'll keep an eye on our weather station we have up on the roof and see what kind of wind gusts we might get up on our roof here in downtown Youngstown. But if you're under this warning, again, some strong winds, take them seriously. Take the warning seriously in Youngstown and Churchill and Girard, and downstream of there, closer to Camel and Struthers and the Poland area, Coatesville, and all of those places. Again, you're just about to get in on this. This is moving quickly at about 50 miles per hour. Up in Crawford County in Meadville a little while ago, they had a wind gust of close to 60 miles per hour. That was at 6:39, so about 6 minutes ago. It's up in Crawford County. Weather Service just a handful of minutes ago did issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for Columbiana County. So I mentioned a little while ago that Columbiana County was not in a severe thunderstorm warning. That has changed, and now the entire county is under a severe thunderstorm warning. This warning also includes northwestern Beaver County. It includes what's left of southern Mercer County, the areas that were not under a warning earlier, and a good chunk of Lawrence now under the warning until 7:30. So if you're watching us from Columbiana County, here it comes, and some strong winds are knocking on the door close to the Stark County line. So along 172, heading from Lisbon towards Canton, you got to watch out for this. New Franklin, eventually Hanover to New Garden, Guilford Lake, sampling some of these wind gusts. Off the Cleveland radar here, we've got some strong winds. Looks like right now in extreme eastern parts of Stark County. Let's bring that back up. Didn't mean to do that. So around Alliance, there's some strong winds here, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. New Franklin to Alliance. This is coming into Sebring and Beloit here momentarily. So again, the freshest severe thunderstorm warning is now out for all of Columbiana County until 7:30 this evening. Let me real quickly check in on my Facebook comments and messages. Getting some dark cloud pictures. Shelf clouds. Thanks to everyone who's sending me stuff on social media, including on Facebook and on Twitter as well. I will show you this one if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook. I can show you real quickly one of the pictures that was just sent to me on Twitter. This is from Boardman, showing a shelf cloud, leading edge of the thunderstorm, rain, cooled air rushing out from that storm and forming a lowered cloud base. Shelf cloud is nothing dangerous in and of itself. It's not a funnel cloud, it's not a tornado, but we oftentimes see these with thunderstorms along the leading edge of those storms. So thank you to Michael who shared that with me. I want to check in because I can hear it up on the roof just real quickly on our Youngstown camera. And the visibility now pretty much zero here on our Youngstown camera as the storm has moved into downtown Youngstown, and some vivid lightning as well. So I can hear it up on our roof. It is pouring rain now in downtown Youngstown, and we're getting a doozy of a thunderstorm. All right, so resetting real quickly for those maybe just joining the stream here as we hit 10 till 7, severe thunderstorm watch out until 10 p.m. That's the watch. We have several warnings out. I'm going to pop up just the warnings and not the radar, but just the warnings. Almost our entire viewing area at this point is under a severe thunderstorm warning. The exceptions, western and northwestern Trumbull and the extreme southeastern part of Lawrence. But otherwise, if you are in our television viewing area, Columbiana, Mahoning, Trumbull, Mercer, Lawrence, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point. So right now is when things are at their busiest for our area as this line pushes through. These storms feeding on a very midsummer-like air mass. It's been in the upper 80s for the last few days. It got more humid today. Very unstable air mass, capable of supporting tall updrafts, capable of producing a lot of rain when you get this kind of moisture. I can see on our Youngstown camera here above our heads, yeah, we're getting some vivid lightning here in Youngstown right now. Let's check in on the wind data. Yeah, getting some strong winds being picked up on the radar here, where you have these brighter reds and almost kind of purplish colors, north side of Youngstown especially, and heading up towards Girard. We're getting lots and lots of wind. Seek shelter. You don't want to be out in this. You don't want to have loose items in this. That is for sure. And it's a good idea to find your safe place if you are in the way of this. You don't have to be sheltered for very long, 5 or 10 minutes in most places at most, but it's a good idea because we've had a history with this cluster of seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and that's nothing to trifle with. Those are the kind of winds we see in low-end EF0 tornadoes. This is not a tornado. We're not going to have a tornado, but these are severe, destructive thunderstorm winds potentially, even though we're getting pretty far away from the Cleveland radar site with these storms. We're going to be switching our radar source here pretty soon to the Pittsburgh radar because we're getting closer to that Pittsburgh radar as these storms make south and eastward progress. Down in Columbiana County, severe thunderstorm warning out until 7:30, and strong winds have now entered the northwestern part of the county. Northwest of Hanoverton, just south of Sebring, across the county line into northwestern Columbiana. This is just south and east of Alliance where these strong winds are. So right in here, Georgetown Road, and just south of 62 near Knox Elementary School. Mostly south, or I should say north, currently of 172. But along the 172 corridor, as you exit New Franklin and come into Columbiana County, heading towards Guilford Lake and heading towards the Lisbon area, now's the time to seek shelter, secure those loose outdoor items. Some strong winds are coming your way. Over in East Canton and Stark County, we had thunderstorm wind damage, trees down earlier on. Back in Stark County about 8 minutes ago. That's when the storm report was, anyway. That's when it was submitted. It was probably earlier than 8 minutes ago when the actual wind gust occurred, but that was what happened back earlier in Stark County. So again, these storms have had a history of being real doozies. Earlier we had some hail, especially up in Trumbull County and parts of Mercer County. We can still see a little hail with this cluster. I'm not as concerned about the hail as I am the wind. But some small hail remains a possibility as this stuff comes to the south and east. Let me check my other kind of off-camera radar source here. All the hail that's being picked up by the radar right now is all towards the smaller end. But could you see some penny pea-size hail in some of this, especially around Youngstown right now, and especially coming towards Beloit and Sebring, coming through the Alliance area? Yeah, but it's not the kind of hail that's going to do damage. It's going to leave a dent in your siding or your car or anything like that. It's more the conversational kind of hail. That's a secondary concern, certainly. The bigger concern is definitely with the wind as this line pushes to the east-southeast. Let's put a radar loop on this line. This is moving quickly. The severe weather threat in any one location, no matter where you're watching from, in any one location, the true severe weather threat won't last that long. 15, 20 minutes at the most, and then we can give you the all clear. But when this comes through, it's going to mean some business. We're talking a lot of wind here, vivid lightning, and some torrential downpours as well. Weather Service expiring the severe thunderstorm warning in Stark County, just off to our west. New severe thunderstorm warning up in Crawford and Erie County in northwestern PA. We're going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning in Trumbull until 7:15, and down into Mahoning until 7:30. So I'm just kind of relaying all the status messages that are coming across what we call NWS chat, National Weather Service chat. That's where we get a heads up as to all the products the National Weather Service is spitting out. They're just as busy as we are this evening, issuing all this stuff and keeping everyone safe. This is one of the higher end severe thunderstorm or severe weather days we've had so far this year. We have not had a gangbusters severe weather season so far, even though it's been much more active than last year. Last spring anyway. It got more active in the summer and fall last year. But in 2021, we had a pretty dull spring for severe weather. We've had a more typical spring this year. Not crazy active, but not nearly as uneventful as last year. But today's definitely been one of the higher end days, that is for sure. All right, I'm going to switch radar sources now and head over to the Pittsburgh radar. And so the colors are going to flip. Now that as the storms are heading towards the radar, those are green colors. If you look at our legend up here towards the top of the screen, greens and blues are winds blowing towards radar sources. The reds and yellows blowing away. So now that we're ingesting the Pittsburgh radar data, the radar or the winds are blowing towards that radar site. So we're looking for the kind of brighter greens and teal blue colors to pick out the pockets of heaviest wind. Getting real local now on the east side of Youngstown, along 422, along 62, 289, Coitesville Road. This is mostly around and just north of the Struthers area. We're getting some high-end winds here in some of these teal colors. 50, 60 miles per hour, probably pretty common in that zone. We also want to take the winds seriously down in Columbiana County, right now in the western part of the county, close to the Mahoning County line, close to 62 and just south of 62. So a lot of this is kind of Beloit and Sebring on south into Columbiana County. But just because it's not here yet doesn't mean you don't need to be prepared for this in Salem, and then heading down towards Lisbon, Guilford Lake, New Garden, and eventually down to Summitville as well. If you're watching us from southeastern Columbiana, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30 in East Liverpool and Wellsville and Nagley and West Point and East Palestine, all of those places, but we don't have an imminent severe weather threat right now. You've got a little time to prepare for this. It's going to take until just about 7:30 before this line moves into the eastern and southern part of Columbiana County, close to the state lines, the West Virginia state line and the Pennsylvania state line as well. We'll check back in on our Youngstown camera. I showed you this a few minutes ago. The visibility, not great at all. Heavy rain, vivid lightning, and some gusty winds as well. I'm going to check our rooftop weather station here, see what the strongest wind we registered was. All right, here on the roof, we only measured a 22 mile per hour wind gust. A little bit surprised it wasn't higher, but the worst of the wind may have just missed the heart of downtown Youngstown to the north and to the east. So we registered 22 up on the roof, but we may have just been grazed by that strong kind of ball of wind. Amanda on Facebook is Austintown getting a tornado warning. Again, for those maybe just joining us, we've mentioned this several times now, the word tornado. No one's getting a tornado warning. There is no threat of a tornado, but these winds are equivalent in some places to a low-end EF0 tornado. We want you to take them seriously, and we want you to take them especially seriously now in eastern Mahoning County, so east of Boardman, or Boardman on east, I should say, and Youngstown on east towards the state line. If you're watching from northwestern Mahoning County, we're just about in the clear back towards Craig Beach and Palmyra. Heading up towards Newton Falls, we're in the clear. Lordstown in the clear. Getting some heavy rain, but the strongest of the winds now to the east of Austintown, to the east of Canfield and Ellsworth, and just about to the east of Youngstown as well. So Amanda was asking specifically about Austintown. No tornado there, no tornado anywhere. The strongest of the wind now is east of Austintown, but these wind gusts can be equivalent of an EF0 tornado. So it's a good idea if you are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, especially in western and central Columbiana County and the eastern part of Mahoning County. It's a good idea to seek shelter, close the windows, get away from the windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and if you have a few minutes before the storm arrives, secure those loose outdoor items. If you've got a trampoline in your backyard, hopefully you took care of that earlier today, but something a little simpler to move, such as kids' toys or an empty trash can or things like that. If you've got some time in, say, Lisbon and East Palestine and North Lima, places like that, you got a little bit of time to secure those loose outdoor items, because this is some pretty strong winds heading our way. All right, we're getting some dark cloud pictures on Twitter. Brad mentioning on Twitter, big temperature drop and increase in winds, some swirling in the clouds. These clouds are moving fast, so we're not getting any rotation really. Nothing that we need to take all that seriously as far as rotation goes, but the clouds and the storms are moving fast, so there may be some perceived weird movements in the clouds, if you will. But again, I want to emphasize, we're not in a tornado setup today. There's not enough wind shear in the atmosphere necessarily in our area for tornadic activity, but there's a lot of instability and a lot of dry air aloft. We have dry air sitting on top of moist air. A lot of times that dry air can get pulled down and that dry air is heavy and dense, and it can bring down the wind energy from aloft and create some strong winds. And so wind is wind, as I like to say, and you got to take 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts seriously, tornado or not. All right, so this is coming into Hanoverton pretty quickly now, and we're also getting some strong winds right here, just south and west of Salem. Georgetown Road, near 62. We're going to sample some wind gusts here off the Pittsburgh Radar of 65 miles per hour. Georgetown Damascus Road, eastward towards Georgetown Road, Route 14, Route 62 area, heads up in Salem, anywhere around Salem. Now's the time to get ready for this. Find your safe place. Take your device with you. Make sure you're following our coverage. You don't have to stay sheltered all that long in any one location. This is moving quickly. It's not going to last that long. A little inconvenience is not too big of a price to pay to stay safe. These are strong winds coming into the Salem area right now, pretty close to the Mahoning, Columbiana County line. Lisbon, you have a little more time to get ready for this, and the worst of the winds may just miss you to the north for a little while. And again, you have maybe until the bottom of the hour to get ready for this. Salineville, and especially over towards Wellsville, East Liverpool, out towards Beaver Creek State Park, heading up towards Nagley, Rogers, and into the East Palestine area as well. All right, our other pocket of really strong winds is in eastern Mahoning County. Now, this is getting close to the state line along 422 now, near Coitesville. Getting some pockets here of 50-mile-per-hour winds being sampled by the radar, eastern Mahoning County. Now, I'm going to give you the clear now from the worst of the wind west of that zone. So even though you're still in the warning for another 14 minutes in Austintown and Canfield, Ellsworth, North Jackson, you're just about in the clear at this point. The strongest of the winds are now about 15 minutes to your east. Youngstown area, just about in the all clear there as well from this pocket of wind that's moving eastward into the eastern part of the county. Southeastern Trumbull is still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're just about in the clear in Hubbard, Churchill, Vienna. Just about in the clear from the wind. It's still raining. We're still getting vivid lightning, but the wind threat is diminishing. Let's see here. Might be getting an increase or an uptick in the hail in a couple of spots here. Let's show you our hail tool. Watching a couple areas where we might be getting some hail now. In Mahoning County, right through here near Greenford. Also, looks like maybe some hail is trying to fall out of this storm now. Northwestern Lawrence. It doesn't look like much on this product, but this is a few minutes behind. I'm looking at my off-camera radar source that's a little more up-to-date. And so we might be getting some hail now. Northwestern Lawrence County, coming towards New Wilmington, just south of West Middlesex, and again around Greenford, just south of Canfield, back in Mahoning County. Might be getting some hail in those zones. Strong winds now coming through the Salem area. All right, so we're getting in on these teal and bright greens, which means strong winds now in the Salem area. And this is coming towards Latonia here momentarily, Washingtonville as well. All right, So again, I've got a lot of balls in the air here, so if I go quiet for a second, just I'm looking at a lot of things on social media and on NWS chat and my other radar sources as well. A lot to keep track of. Basically, now 75%, 80% of our viewing area under a severe thunderstorm warning, including all of Columbiana County, including just about all of Mahoning County, although the threat is more in the central and eastern parts of Mahoning County right now instead of the western part. A lot of Lawrence County currently under a severe thunderstorm warning. Mercer County, your severe thunderstorm warning that covered a lot of the county expired a few minutes ago at 7 o'clock. And the eastern and southern parts of Trumbull still under a severe thunderstorm warning, although the severe weather threat appears to be diminishing pretty quickly in those eastern parts of Trumbull and the southern part of that county as well. We also have a flood advisory that's out in the green color here in areas that have had quite a bit of rain so far today. Jessica in Greenford mentioning it's very windy. Thank you to Jessica for that report. And on Facebook and on YouTube, I can share this picture with you that is from, where did they say that was from? From Columbiana, showing the leading edge of our storm coming towards the Columbiana area. So the Weather Service in Pittsburgh is going to continue. They're going to continue the severe thunderstorm warning for a good chunk of Carroll, Columbiana, Jefferson, Beaver, Butler, Lawrence, and Mercer, as well as Hancock, West Virginia. Big severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30 this evening. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Here I am. I'm back. Making sure I'm hitting the right buttons here. So again, we have a big severe thunderstorm warning polygon out that covers our southern and eastern viewing area until 7:30, so another 25 minutes on that. All right, decent sized hail, it looks like to me, coming into the New Wilmington area right now. Let's head over there to kind of northern Lawrence County, southern Mercer County. What I'm going to do is take a slice out of this and show you kind of a view of this. When you start to see these brighter colors getting high in the sky, some of these whites, that means probably hail. So you're seeing some high, what we call reflectivity values, high up in this storm, 20, 30,000 feet in the air. A lot of times those are big fat raindrops, but oftentimes also hailstones being picked up by the radar. I think we're seeing some hail now in the New Wilmington area. Most of it on the smaller end, but there might be a couple of, hailstones up to quarter size in this storm around New Wilmington right now, near the Mercer County line around Pulaski. So I put a loop on this. This hail core, or this zone where there's hail falling, is going to kind of just slide along that Mercer-Lawrence line and head towards Slippery Rock here, probably in the next 15 minutes. So heads up in Grove City, and especially just south of Grove City, down 79 towards Slippery Rock, eventually maybe down towards Portersville. Some hail and some vivid lightning. Also probably still getting some hail now, where you're seeing this kind of purple zone here along 46 and getting close to the 11 corridor in southern Mahoning County. This moved through Greenford a little while ago, and some hail and some strong winds now. South of 224, south of Canfield, down 46 as you head south of Canfield and down towards Columbiana. We're getting a doozy of a thunderstorm with wind and hail. Pushing to the east, heads up in Beaver, and this is coming towards New Middletown eventually as well. Real quick look at the velocity data. Not sampling winds quite as strong as earlier, it looks to me. We don't see a lot of teal in this. Still probably some strong winds back towards Salem. But, some decent winds and some pretty good hail in this. Up in Trumbull County, you're all clear from severe at this point in just about all of Trumbull County. In extreme southeastern parts of Trumbull, closer to Hubbard and closer to the state line. Still some thunder and lightning, some gusty winds maybe, but just about in the clear from severe weather for the rest of the evening in most, if not all, of Trumbull County. In Mercer County, you're just about in the clear from severe in areas well north of Interstate 80. So once you're up towards Fredonia, South Pymatuning, Greenville, heading across towards New Lebanon, kind of the northern tier of Mercer, just about ready to give you the all clear for the whole evening in terms of severe weather. Now it's going to rain, we're going to have thunder and lightning, but severe damaging winds, large hail, the threat appears to be diminishing in those locations. We're going to have to hang in there just a little while longer in Mahoning County. The wind threat is shifting across the state line here momentarily. We still have a hail threat to deal with in kind of the southern part of the county. Again, this does not look like much on our radar source, but right in through here, heading towards Beaver, I think we're getting some hail, at least some small hail. And I'll tell you, the hail may be still growing over here towards New Wilmington. Let's bring up a live radar shot. And yeah, I mean, that's heavy, heavy rain and probably at least quarter-size hail, I would say, at this point around New Wilmington. If you're watching us from extreme southern Mercer, extreme northern Lawrence, around New Wilmington, if you can safely send us pictures of hailstones, we'd really appreciate that to get some ground truth to this. But I strongly suspect we're looking at a hail-producing storm. Let me try that again. I'm going to try to take a 3D look at this. Let's try one more time. Draw a bigger box. All right. This isn't going to show up all that well for me, so what I'm going to do is instead take a slice instead of a full 3D look. And this will give you a sense as to the high reflectivity values being lofted by this storm. And I think we got some hailstones in this storm where you see these kind of grays and whites right over New Wilmington. These are big fat raindrops and hailstones as tall or as high in the air as 20, 30,000 feet. And so hailstones are trying to fall to the ground, but strong updrafts are lifting them back up. As they get lifted back up into the storm, more moisture kind of accretes to them. And then eventually the hailstone gets too heavy, falls to the ground. But for a little while, it bobs up and down. The more it bobs up and down, the heavier, or the larger, I should say, that hailstone gets. And yeah, that's probably some pretty good hail over there right now. All right. Let me quickly look at more pictures that we've got coming into us. This was earlier. Again, I apologize you can't see this on our live stream on the website and app, but let's show you a picture I got from earlier showing the leading edge of a storm coming into that was coming into Salem and Latonia earlier. Thanks to Justin for that one. All right, so we're in the all clear from severe weather at this point, I think, in western Mahoning County, Ellsworth, Craig Beach, Austintown, heading up towards Niles, Newton Falls, Warren, all clear for the evening. We're getting a doozy of a storm, though, and you're certainly not in the all clear in Hanoverton, in Lisbon, in Columbiana, North Lima, heading over towards New Wilmington, just south of Sharon, and in extreme northern Lawrence and extreme southern Mercer. We got to hang on a little while longer with some heavy, heavy rain and some vivid lightning and some hail, along with gusty winds pushing through. Let's do a quick look at the wind. Some strong gusty winds with that hail coming into New Wilmington right now, but I'm encouraged by what I see for a lot of this activity in Columbiana County. Now, no doubt there's some strong winds. Hanoverton to Lisbon, coming into West Point, heading up towards Columbiana as well. But it doesn't look to me like most of this is as strong as earlier. Some pockets, yes, some pockets of strong winds, but not as intense as it looked like it was earlier when this was in the northwestern part of the county. So maybe some encouraging signs there. Also not getting super vivid lightning down here in Columbiana. There is some lightning, especially back towards Hanoverton, but I'm not seeing a lot of these brighter either plus signs or lightning strikes on our radar data. Those are the more recent strikes when you see those brighter icons. The ones that are kind of dulled or grayed out are older lightning strikes. So the lack of fresh lightning down here in Columbiana County leads me to believe that at least this line right now is not strengthening. The storm that is strengthening, and has been for a little while, is over here in western PA, around New Wilmington, and heading towards Slippery Rock here pretty soon. I think we're getting big hailstones in this, and also some strong winds and some very, very heavy rain. The hail threat appears to be diminishing now in southern Mahoning County. I was tracking some hail earlier from Greenford on east towards Beaver. As this comes into New Middletown, maybe some small hail, but I don't think it's much more than conversational, little pea-sized hail maybe a little bit bigger in some spots, but nothing that's going to be too problematic. The Slippery Rock area, you don't have much time to get ready for this. This is probably only 10 or 15 minutes away, so towards the bottom of the hour, 7:25, 7:30, coming towards Slippery Rock. So if you're watching from way over there towards Slippery Rock, get ready for this. It's coming your way in the next 15 to 20 minutes with hail and strong winds and lots of rain and lightning for a while. We're still getting vivid lightning here in Youngstown, even though the worst of the storm is now to the south and east. We're still getting some pretty vivid flashes here. Quick look at our camera from our transmitter tower on the south side. The visibility is starting to come up. We're looking north. But you can see all the rain that's still sticking to the camera. Visibility is still definitely reduced. All right, we haven't done this for a little while, so let's do a quick recap on where we stand for maybe those who are just joining us. We've been streaming live for almost an hour now, just after my weathercast during the 6 o'clock news. Most of our area at some point has been under a severe thunderstorm warning. Our entire television viewing area is still under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. Now, I think what you're going to see over the next couple of hours is counties stripped away from this severe thunderstorm watch. And I would suspect that Trumbull in our viewing area would be one of the first ones to get cut out of this severe thunderstorm watch. But as it stands right now, still a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. As the line continues making south and eastward progress, the severe weather threat will end for the evening, and the National Weather Service offices in Cleveland and Pittsburgh will begin to strip some counties away from that severe thunderstorm watch. But that's where we stand on the watch. As far as active warnings go, Columbiana County, the entire county under a severe thunderstorm warning for another 14 minutes until 7:30 this evening. The severe thunderstorm warning just was expired for Mahoning and Trumbull. Pardon me. So we're no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning in any of Mahoning County and Trumbull County. So we're in the clear from severe now in Trumbull County, and it looks like, even though we're still getting a pretty nasty thunderstorm, it's sub-severe now as this moves through New Middletown and back towards Latonia and heading up towards Struthers. Sub-severe, so the severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped. Until 7:30, though, the severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Columbiana County, northwestern Beaver, a good chunk of Lawrence, southwestern Mercer as well. The rest of Mercer not under a severe thunderstorm warning. And I think what we most have to pay attention to right now is the part of the storm that is still producing probably some hail around Valant. New Wilmington on east towards 19. Getting close to the I-79 corridor here soon, so heads up in Slippery Rock, pretty close to the Grove City area as well, and then heading down towards Portersville. So you're in the way of this. I'll put a quick loop on this. Big hailstones, vivid lightning, probably a pretty good strong wind gust, plenty of rain. All right. I'm liking what I'm seeing in Columbiana County. You're getting a decent thunderstorm, but I don't think this is strengthening. And is mostly sub-severe. They're probably going to let the warning ride for another 12 minutes in Columbiana. But I think this is mostly sub-severe. We may be seeing a little uptick as it comes out of Carroll County right now. This is the part of the storm that may be trying to re-strengthen a little bit, cycle back up, coming into northeastern Carroll County. This is coming towards Summitville. Route 39 in north in Carroll County, closer to Route 30, and heading along 9 out of Carrollton up towards Hanoverton. This may be trying to perk up a little bit, this particular section of the line, but the part of the line that's moving through Lisbon right now, Elk Run, Columbiana, pretty decent summertime storm, no doubt, but mostly below severe limits. We're no longer seeing any hail in most spots with this. And the wind, while gusty and noticeable, is largely, it looks like, below severe limits. But the warning will be allowed to ride for another 11 minutes. Okay, National Weather Service. In Cleveland, continuing the warning for up in Crawford and Erie and northwestern PA. On the south part of this line, we have an active warning down in Tuscarawas County. That one is going to miss us to the south. That could be more of a problem eventually down towards Steubenville. Not going to worry about that part. I think in our TV viewing area, we're going to be out of the woods here in about 20 minutes. This is our line right here. Once this pushes out of Lawrence and Mercer and Columbiana, we should be pretty good. We should be good to go for the rest of the evening, because you look upstream and we have one lonely warning out here in northwestern parts of Ohio. I would suspect by the time this makes its way all the way across the state, as we head past sunset, it's going to run into a more stable air mass and should not be much of an issue. But we'll keep an eye on it. But that's a long way away. I think for the most part, we're going to be good to go once this line moves through. Again, in the northeastern part of Lawrence County, I think we're still getting some good hail. Big hail, maybe an inch or larger. In fact, my off-camera radar source would suggest we might be getting 1.5 inch size hail. Now, south and east of New Wilmington, coming towards Plain Grove, this is the kind of hail that can cause damage, that can dent things. If it's wind-driven hail, if wind is driving this kind of hail into the side of your house, it can damage your siding. This can cause roof damage, this kind of hail. So again, northeastern Lawrence County, extreme southeastern Mercer County, Grove City on south towards Plain Grove, coming into Slippery Rock, and eventually maybe over towards West Liberty. This is the kind of hail we don't see too often around here. It happens, but not, a lot. That is for sure. All right, the Weather Service is going to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning that runs for 15 minutes longer than the original. So they're going to extend that original warning 15 minutes until 7:45. So let's look at that new polygon. All right, so this is the new polygon right here. This is going to cover southeastern Columbiana, a good chunk of Lawrence, a good chunk of Beaver County, and off to the east as well until 7:45. That's going to replace the old polygon. I think you're just about in the clear now. In fact, you are in the clear northwestern Columbiana, western Mahoning. In fact, all of Mahoning, you're in the clear at this point. We're going to pay attention to this a little while longer. In western Columbiana, southern tier of Columbiana, Route 30 and south. And also, this is the big player right here. This is the guy we got to really pay attention to. This is getting to be almost on the fringes of our television viewing area, but we're going to follow this for a little while longer. This guy right here, where you see all these purple colors, that's not only heavy rain, but that's big hail as well. And this is coming right into Slippery Rock. So another kind of slice of this. And, we're kind of looking up through the storm here, and this is how high we're getting. We got the legend over here. We're getting these high reflectivity values up to 40,000 feet up in the storm. That's commensurate with hail, big hail. And again, I've got a couple of radar sources going here, and taking a look at my off-camera source, we're seeing at least 1 inch in diameter hail, if not 1.5 inches, being indicated by the radar over there. Now this is going to exit Lawrence and southeastern Mercer in about 5 to 7, 8 minutes, but heads up Grove City on south. in southeastern Mercer County, extreme northeastern Lawrence County. All clear, Trumbull and Mahoning. Got to hang on a little while longer in Columbiana. This is mostly sub-severe down here in Columbiana. But the storm has tried to pulse up and perk up a little bit as it exits Carroll County, kind of on the southern flank of this, coming into Summitville and Salineville. It's tried to perk up a little bit. It's pretty borderline, but yeah, pretty good storm, no doubt. The storm, thankfully down towards New Philly, is going to miss us to the south. That'll be closer to Steubenville eventually if it holds together. That's the other active warning across east central Ohio. All right, Ralph is looking east-southeast out of Lisbon. So let's show you that one. Scary-looking clouds, east-southeast out of Lisbon. Turbulent skies here, no doubt. This is right as you get off of 11, near the Days Inn, near Shale Restaurant. There's a BP right there, and yeah, pretty good place to pull over and look at some storms, no doubt about it. Ralph did not mention wind, so I'm not sure what the wind is doing right there. Just sorting through some of my pictures here on social media. Haven't gotten a chance to look at my email just yet, but if you have weather pictures to send us, email's a great way to do it. Weatherpics, P-I-C-S, at WFMJ.com. Tag any of us on social media as well. And when I'm doing this live streaming coverage, Twitter's easier to follow than Facebook. But everybody who's sending me stuff via direct message or tagging me or in the comments section on Facebook, I'm going to look at all that here at the end of the live stream when I have a little more time. It's hard to... That stream goes by really fast when you're trying to watch this live. The comments section goes by really fast on Facebook. So it's just a little bit hard to keep track of the real-time comments on Facebook. All right, so again, if you're just joining us here at 726, we're in the all clear in Mahoning County and Trumbull County, a good chunk of Mercer County as well. Almost in the all clear in Columbiana County. We got to hang on for maybe another 10, 15 minutes in the central and eastern parts of Columbiana. Ralph did mention that the winds are light in Lisbon. So scary looking clouds down there, but that part of the line is not as strong as kind of the southern flank that's closer to Summitville, south of Route 30. So Lisbon to Salineville, up to East Palestine, on south and east, towards East Liverpool. That's kind of the last part of Columbiana County that has to pay attention for a little bit longer, 10 or 15 minutes. Most of this, even though you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, most of this right now is sub-severe, although, pretty good thunderstorm, no doubt, as you get down towards Route 39, closer to Salineville and Summitville as well. All right, we're almost ready to hand this kind of slippery rock storm off to the Pittsburgh television market as it exits Mercer and Lawrence. It'll officially be out of our area, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get any ground truth to what the radar's been showing. Big time hail with this storm as it moved through northeastern Lawrence, extreme southeastern Mercer, heading over towards Slippery Rock and West Liberty. Gonna slide off camera here and do a social media post that doesn't include my ugly mug in it. Oops. All right, I'm back. Gotta feed the beast. Keep social media updated. When I do this live streaming coverage, sometimes that's all you can really pay attention to is being on camera and focusing on what you're saying. Not everyone can watch streaming video and follow along. Just regular social media posts, something I gotta keep in the back of my mind that I gotta do every now and then for those who can't just sit there and watch a video. So I had to take time out to do that real quickly. So this is moving through Slippery Rock right now. Some heavy rain and some hail as that pushes through. Wendy mentioning tree down on wires on Regal into Austintown. People can't get into or out of the neighborhood. All right, so a report of some damage over there in Austintown. Down here in Columbiana County, where we still have a severe thunderstorm warning out, I think most of this is still sub-severe. Some pockets where the wind could get a little frisky, but I think you're just about in the clear at this point. We're going to pay attention to this for a little while longer, especially down here in the far southern part of the county from Salineville across 39 towards Highlandtown, towards Wellsville, along the Ohio River and East Liverpool. That's the part of the storm that if this tries to keep perking up a little bit, that we could have, a stronger storm. But for the rest of this, warning polygon in Columbiana County, I'm not real impressed with what I see. I think you're going to be allowed to see this warning expire here at 7:45. Up in Lawrence County, you're just about in the clear. Still some thunder and lightning, some heavy rain, but it's only in the extreme northeastern parts of Lawrence now that we still have that heavier thunderstorm. Mercer County, with the exception of the Grove City area, you are in the clear from severe weather for the rest of the evening, and again, you're all clear in Mahoning and Trumbull. So with all that said, I think at this point I'm going to stop the streaming coverage and catch my breath, get a drink of water, and pour through all the Facebook comments and messages and the emails as well, and see what happened out there this evening. So, again, just a recap for those just joining us. Technically a severe thunderstorm warning out until 10 o'clock. We've been streaming live now for over an hour, and I think we're just about in the clear now in most of our television viewing area from severe weather. I think you're going to see this severe thunderstorm watch discontinued in most of our area early, unless this lone storm that has a warning on it out in northwestern Ohio keeps chugging east as it comes across northern Ohio. I doubt that's going to happen, but that may be the only reason why they keep the watch up until its original expiration time in our part of the region. So that's the last thing I'll be keeping an eye on. In the meantime, I think we're just about in the clear in most of our TV viewing area. So I'm going to sign off from the live stream. Look for more updates from me on social media throughout the evening, tonight on 21 News at 11 o'clock as well. Thanks for watching, everybody.